The life of King George III's daughter, Princess Sophia. Princess Sophia, also known as Sophia Matilda, led a captivating life full of intrigue and rumours. Born on the 3rd of November 1777, she was the 12th child and 5th daughter of King George III and Queen Charlotte. While Sophia is famous for various reasons, one particular scandal surrounds her alleged illegitimate child, which added an extra layer of fascination to her story. During her youth, Sophia shared a special bond with her father, who favoured his daughters over his sons. Unfortunately, her relationship with her mother was fraught with fear, as the princesses were raised in an extremely strict household. Despite King George's initial disapproval of marriage for his daughters, he intended to find them suitable husbands once they reached a certain age. However, his recurrent bouts of madness, along with the Queen's desire to keep her daughters as companions, deterred potential suitors from them. As a result, Sophia and her sisters grew up in a secluded environment, often referred to as a nunnery. While Sophia remained unmarried, rumours circulated that she had become pregnant in 1800. It was said that Thomas Garth, an equerry of her father's, was the father of her illegitimate child. Another scandalous claim suggested that her elder brother, the unpopular Duke of Cumberland, had raped her and fathered the child. Historians remain divided on the truth behind these stories, with some believing she did give birth to Garth's child, while others argue that these tales were spread by political enemies of the royal family. The Prince Regent's efforts to secure more independence for his sisters gained momentum after Queen Charlotte's death in 1818. In her later years, Sophia resided in the household of her niece, Princess Victoria of Kent, who would later become Queen Victoria. It was during this time that she fell under the influence of Sir John Conroy, Victoria's controller. Taking advantage of Sophia's senility and blindness, Conroy manipulated her, and rumours circulated that she held him in high regard due to his ability to handle the alleged bullying behaviour of her supposed illegitimate son. Sophia became a spy for Conroy, reporting on the activities of the Kensington household and her two elder brothers, while he squandered most of her fortune. The princess passed away on the 27th of May 1848 at her residence in Vicarage Place, Kensington Palace. In her early years, Princess Sophia spent her childhood at Buckingham House in London. She was baptised on the 1st of December 1777 in the grand setting of the Great Council Chamber at St James's Palace. The ceremony was conducted by Frederick Cornwallis, the Archbishop of Canterbury. Among her godparents were Prince August of Saxe-Gotha, Altenburg, her first cousin once removed, as well as the Duchess of Brunswick, Wolfenbüttel, her first cousin twice removed. The Duchess of Mecklenburg, the wife of her first cousin once removed, was also a godparent, but they were represented by proxies during the baptism ceremony. Sophia's entrance into the world brought with it provisions for her future, King George, ensuring the financial security of his daughters and younger sons, arranged for Sophia and her elder sisters to receive an annual income of £6,000, either upon their marriages or his passing. The royal household maintained a strict and formal atmosphere, even in private. For instance, when the king entered a room, his daughters were expected to stand up, remain silent until addressed, and only leave with permission. Queen Charlotte, mindful of expenses, took measures to economise. The younger princesses wore less expensive country-made dresses and had plain meals. Education took centre stage in Sophia's early life. Lady Charlotte Finch, the governess for all of the royal children, oversaw their upbringing. Alongside her brothers, Sophia received a strict and disciplined education. Queen Charlotte ensured that expert tutors provided lessons in English, French, music, art, and geography. The princesses also had the opportunity to engage in sports and lively games with their brothers, blending entertainment with education. Theatre and special performances added to their cultural experiences. Sophia's first public appearance took place at Westminster Abbey in 1784 during a commemoration for George Frederick Handel, where she accompanied her parents and older siblings. In a departure from the norms of the time, Sophia's father actively participated in her early upbringing, favouring his daughters over his sons. He attended their birthday celebrations and other special events, showing great fondness for them. However, Queen Charlotte instilled fear in her daughters, and her maternal approach was not always gentle. As Sophia entered adulthood, she began to participate in more family activities alongside her sister Mary. At the age of 14, Sophia made her debut at court on her father's birthday. She was described as a delightful yet occasionally moody young woman, pretty, delicate and passionate. Sophia remained devoted to her father, despite finding him occasionally exacerbating. She expressed her gratitude for his kindness, but also noted his occasional overbearing behaviour, which did concern her. Prior to 1788, King George had discussed taking his daughters to Hanover to find them suitable husbands, despite his reservations based on his sisters' unhappy marriages. He admitted that he never wished to see his daughters marry, as he cherished their company and desired to avoid separation. However, the king's first bout of madness in 1788, when Sophia was 11, raised concerns. Sophia described his behaviour as affectionate yet alarming. Further episodes of insanity occurred in 1801 and 1804, postponing any discussions of marriage for his daughters. The topic was rarely broached, as Queen Charlotte feared it could trigger a relapse in the king's mental state. Additionally, strained by her husband's illness, she wanted her princesses to remain close to her. Princess Sophia, much like her sisters, was confined to a life of companionship with her mother, Queen Charlotte. They were strictly kept within the boundaries of the royal court, rarely interacting with men outside of pages, equerries, or attendants. Constantly supervised, the princesses lamented their existence in what they called a nunnery. Their entertainment consisted of the Queen reading sermons to them, and the princesses engaging in the monotonous task of embroidery. Sophia once expressed her profound boredom, wishing she were a kangaroo to escape the deadly dullness of their days. While the Princess Royal managed to marry at a relatively young age, the rest of the princesses faced obstacles in their pursuit of love and family. Although suitors showed an interest, Queen Charlotte intervened and hindered most of their romantic prospects. Longing for their own families and children, the princesses turned to their brother, the Prince of Wales, for assistance. They sought his help in finding suitable spouses, obtaining permission to marry their chosen partners, or even securing the freedom to live outside of Queen Charlotte's suffocating household. In jest, Sophia once humorously suggested to her brother that they should be put in a sack and drowned in the Thames. Before the Prince of Wales assumed the regency in 1811, he had limited power to fulfil his sister's wishes. However, his new position allowed Sophia and other unmarried princesses to receive increased allowances, as well as support in their desire to explore society. Queen Charlotte vehemently opposed these attempts, and she demanded delicate negotiations by the Prince Regent to strike a balance that would grant his sisters some independence. During Sophia's lifetime, rumours circulated about her alleged incestuous relationship with her brother Ernest Augustus, Duke of Cumberland, who later became the King of Hanover. The Prince Regent cautioned his sisters against being alone in the same room with the Duke, who was deeply unpopular with the British public. It remains uncertain whether these rumours held any truth or if they were fabricated by the Duke's numerous political adversaries. With limited exposure to eligible suitors, Sophia and some of her sisters became entangled in relationships with courtiers and equerries. Sophia herself became involved with Major General Thomas Garth, her father's chief equerry, despite him being 33 years her senior and having a conspicuous birthmark on his face. Her sister Mary referred to him as the purple light of love, while others, such as courtier Charles Greville, deemed him a hideous old devil. Nonetheless, one lady-in-waiting observed that the princess was madly in love with him, unable to contain her emotions in his presence. Greville wrote in his diary about the affairs of Sophia and her sisters, noting how they were secluded from the world, with limited interactions, and this led to their passions overflowing and easily falling into the hands of the first men who had the opportunity to engage with them. The rumours of an illegitimate child quickly spread, adding intrigue to Sophia's story. Some historians argue that sometime before August 1800 in Weymouth, Sophia gave birth to a child, allegedly fathered either by Thomas Garth or her own brother, the Duke of Cumberland. The child, named Thomas Garth after his supposed father, was raised by Garth in Weymouth, with occasional visits from Sophia. In 1828, the child reportedly attempted to blackmail the royal family with incriminating documents, but his scheme failed. On the other hand, challenges the belief that Sophia had a child at all, presenting a thorough examination of the available evidence. But others believe that Sophia secretly gave birth to the child, which could explain why she never married. There is mention of a potential marriage between Sophia and Garth in the same year as the child's birth, although no evidence supports this claim aside from the presence of a wedding ring in the portrait of an older Sophia. In her later years, Sophia became a favourite of her niece, Princess Charlotte of Wales, who admired Sophia's gentle character and was intrigued by the gossip surrounding her past. However, Charlotte had tumultuous relationships with her other aunts. Following Queen Charlotte's death in 1818, Augusta and Sophia gained more domestic freedom, although it was too late for them to marry. Sophia inherited Lower Lodge at Windsor Great Park from her mother, which she later gave to the Prince Regent. After Princess Augusta's passing in 1840, Sophia inherited Clarence House and Frogmore. During her final years, Sophia resided in Kensington Palace, living next to her niece, Princess Victoria of Kent, the future Queen Victoria. Sophia, like her sister-in-law, the Duchess of Kent, fell under the influence of Sir John Conroy and allowed him to manage her finances. She became part of the Duchess's social circle and acted as a spy for Conroy, reporting on events at St James's Palace and having privileged access to courtiers and her elder brothers. While some speculated that Conroy's handling of Sophia's illegitimate son endeared him to her, others argue that he took advantage of Sophia's vulnerability in her old age. Sophia often dined with the household, but the Duchess of Kent harboured mistrust towards her. Princess Victoria was aware of her aunt's spying activities, and their relationship remained distant. Sophia's wealth enabled Conroy to lead a lavish lifestyle, acquiring properties and enjoying high social standing. Sophia's influence also played a role in certain members of Victoria's household gaining elevated positions, such as the ennoblement of Victoria's governess, Louise Lejeune, and Conroy's appointment as the Knight Commander of the Hanoverian Order. In the twilight of her life, Princess Sophia battled blindness for over a decade, her world gradually shrouded in darkness. On the morning of the 27th of May 1848, she fell ill at her residence in Vicarage Place, Kensington. Among those who came to her side were her sisters Mary, sister-in-law Queen Adelaide, and nephew-in-law Prince Albert. As the day unfolded, Sophia's condition deteriorated, and at 6:30 that evening she drew her last breath. The sombre scene witnessed the presence of Mary, the Duchesses of Kent and Cambridge, who stood vigil by her side. Sophia's final resting place was not in the grand halls of Windsor Castle, as tradition would dictate, but rather in the Kensal Green Cemetery in London. It was a deliberate choice, as she desired to be near her beloved brother, Prince Augustus Frederick, Duke of Sussex, whose grave lay on the opposite side of the path. The funeral took place in front of the central chapel, her burial spot marking the eastern boundary. However, her departure revealed a harsh truth. Conroy, the trusted caretaker of her finances, had squandered most of her wealth. Princess Sophia left behind a meagre estate, with virtually nothing left to give. In his diary entry on the 31st of May, Charles Greville captured the essence of Princess Sophia's passing. She was a woman of remarkable intellect and knowledge, yet her existence had been confined away from the vibrant world. She endured years of blindness and helplessness, a silent martyr in her own right. As news of her death coincided with Queen Victoria's birthday, it served as a poignant reminder of the fragility and transience of life.